Okay. Hi, everybody. And try this again. This is the third time trying to make this recording. I'm sending you an email that's going to clear. I know it's a little confusing what we're doing. I want to clear it up, make it really clear. Okay. I have all these windows open already because it takes forever since I'm recording. So link on narrative poetry. You would click on narrative. Sorry. Let me back up a little bit. You're doing 6 things. Okay. First thing you're doing is write 3 poems. 2 should be free verse, which means not a formal scheme, 1 narrative, and 1 lyric. And the third is a verse form of your choosing. So here's a link to narrative poetry. Okay, just a little reminder. If you click on that link, it'll take you in here, tell you a little bit about what is a narrative poem with some examples, okay? Here, link on lyric poetry, same thing. Click on that link. It's going to bring you in here. Again, it's going to tell you the difference between narrative and lyric. Narrative poem is a story, beginning, middle, and end. Lyric is more about an incident. It can be about feelings. It's kind of a grab bag of everything that's not a narrative poem, right? It used to be much more focused on sound, and now it's kind of sound and imagery and figurative language. So that's narrative and lyric poetry. Okay. Formal verse poetry. Click on that. And again, it's going to tell you a little bit about formal verse. Formal verse is not rhymed poetry that uses a strict meter, okay? Not necessarily. There's a little bit of an argument about that. Like Emily Dickinson, she could be considered formal free verse in a sense because that you can copy that has that pattern, but she is using regular meter with rhyme, okay? But you can use rhyme and meter in a free verse poem. Essentially, a formal verse poem, and some formal verse poems have no rhyme at all, like a sestina, right? Does not have to rhyme at all. So essentially, or a haiku. I'm not sure if haikus rhyme in their original Japanese, but in English they don't, so it doesn't necessarily include rhyme. It just means it has specific requirements and conventions with a particular scheme or meter. It has a pattern. It's like doing a math problem. You have to follow that pattern, okay? Ballad, chant royale, common meter, epigram, limerick, sonnet, sestina, terza rima, villanelle. Some of these you can click on, some of them you can't. You can look it up to find examples, or just look up sestina rhyme scheme, it'll tell you. Or not rhyme scheme, it's not really rhyming. Sestina pattern or sestina scheme, okay? And choose one of those to do a poem. Okay. By Thursday night, at the latest, please, to give you time to do peer review. Okay, make sure this is still going. Upload your poems either onto the site or copy and paste into this document called All Student Writing. So someone wrote to me to say that he could not figure out how to upload to Google Classroom. I can't see the student view, so I can't actually even make you a video showing you. Next time, I'll nominate someone to show us. But for now, you can just put it into this document. And actually, I think it's just better to go into this document so we can all see it, not just me. So just put your poetry in here. So this is the document, okay? This document called All Student Writing. Okay. Titles for every time. So last time was the repetition poems, right? This time is the 3 poems, 1 narrative, 1 lyric, and 1 free verse for 7/10. So go ahead and post all 3 of your poems in there, okay? When you've written them by Thursday night. Okay. Read all the poems under homework in week 1 poetry analysis, okay? So here it is, week 1 poetry analysis. If you click that link that says homework, it'll take you into there. And again, you're just reading the poems that are under homework. The first ones are the ones we did in class, and I have screen captured that. Reread those or watch those, okay? I just want you to read these poems here, okay? And it goes down to the 2nd page. It goes a little bit slow because I'm recording, so bear with me. It goes down to Love Song of Alfred J. Prufrock. After that are resources to help analyze poetry and help you write poetry, which you can read if you want, but they're not required, okay? And then there's also, at the bottom, a textual analysis of a poem that I wrote. I'll be assigning you guys to read those at the end. when you're going to be writing your textual analysis paper. So sample close reading Two Monkeys, that's a textual analysis of a poem. You do not have to read these now, this is just extras if you want, but you need to read all the poems that are under homework, okay? That ends up here with all these poems here under homework. Okay, so after you read those poems, I want you to choose one poem and write 3 to 5 discussion questions. So here are the example discussion questions. I'm actually going to take the word example out of this and just call it discussion questions for the creative writing class, and we can keep all of them here, okay? And this will be, I'm just going to write discussion questions, poetry. All right. Okay, I think that this recording stopped for a second. I hope that there's not too long of a pause. Okay, I changed this into creative writing summer class discussion questions, okay? Discussion questions, poetry, 4, 7, 10, okay? So there's a title there, and just click on it, and you can put some, okay? 3 to 5 is about the rule. If you go a little longer, 7, that's fine, but that's the ballpark figure that you want to get, okay? Okay, and then the next thing you want to do, you have 2 options. You can either go to Google Slides and make a 1-slide bio of, so you're going to make it of the poet that you chose. So for example, the person who chose The Gift is going to make a bio of Lee Young Lee, okay? So of the poet whose poem you chose. So here's an example. If you click that link, an example bio of Gloria Anzaldúa, okay? Here is an example presentation about her. And when it finally loads, you'll see loading. Okay. You'll see that on the second here, the poet, the student, wrote their discussion questions about the poem also with this bio. You can do that if you want as well. If you don't want to put them into that document, you can put them here. So again, if you can't figure out how to upload into Google Classroom, that's fine. Just make the slide in Google Slides and we'll figure it out on Friday. Or another possibility is that we'll share our emails and you can share with everybody in that little button over there that says share. Okay. Over here that says share, you could share once you make it, okay? And if you want to put your questions in here, you can, or you can put them into creative writing discussion questions, this document, creative writing summer class discussion questions, okay? Okay, so again, this is the poet whose poem you chose to write discussion questions about, a brief bio. The other option for this is if you find a video of them reading that poem, you can either make a video of it, or what you could do is when we're in the class, you can just share screen. You can share screen and just show it to us and then kind of out loud give us a brief bio. So that's an option if you want to do that as well. Okay? Okay. The next thing that you want to do is you want to read each other's poems in all student writing, okay? Thursday night or Friday morning after they've all been uploaded. Then you go to the creative writing peer review document when you click on it. Okay, so I'm going to try to explain this to you really quickly, the creative writing peer review document. Essentially, I want you to do 3 for each classmate. So there's 5 people in the class, each of you has 4 classmates, okay? I put your names on these so you see where your peer review starts, and I gave you an example. Too long, okay? Okay, example peer review. You must review each of your peers' 3 poems. Make sure to name yourself as reviewer and give the name of the poet. Minju's poem from last week, Women. You're not doing last week's poems though, okay? You're doing the poems that are going to be uploaded. 7/10's poems, the lyric, the narrative, and the verse poem. Okay, is the poem well pleasing on the page? There's lots of humor and repetition in this poem. Great job, okay? I'm just answering these questions. The poem is about all the mixed signals and double standards imposed on girls growing up. It makes total sense. I really like the humor. Maybe make it even funnier. Minju, this is just an example. I think it's already really funny. The things the poet is doing well. I really like the way the questions build between stanzas. The slow realization of the voice of the person questioning all the stuff being thrown at them is cool. Okay. If it's a free verse poem, if it is a formal verse poem, is the poet being true to the form? Are they following it? This is a free verse poem with consistent logical scheme. How does it sound when you read it out loud? It has a good rhythm and presentation. Maybe that will let this load. Okay. Okay, the recording stopped again for a second, just picking up where it left off. I'm going kind of fast because this is 15-minute cutoff for Screencast-O-Matic. Okay, so do you think it needs stanzas? Should they be different? How about the line breaks? Are they interesting, consistent? Would you change anything about the stanzas or the line breaks? I think the stanzas and line breaks are great as they are. Overall comment, write a brief paragraph. Nice job, Minju. You really improved this poem since last time. I like all the contradictions and the way the poem slowly builds up to the questions. The only thing I'd like to see is a bit more imagery if you can work it in. Again, this is just an example. What you want to do is start with some praise for what they did well, and then secondly, some constructive criticism. You always want to be constructive, okay? So over here, you can see that I put your names on everything. So click on your name like this, and it'll bring it to your peer review forms. If you scroll down there at the left, you'll find all your names, and it'll say Justin's peer reviews, Chloe's peer reviews, Noah's peer reviews, Matthew's peer reviews, Minju's peer reviews. Okay, just click on your name. It brings you here. Okay, you're going to say Justin reviewing Chloe's narrative poem title. Okay, so the main thing you need to remember here is when you're reviewing your peers, do all 3 of their poems in a row. Don't mix up people's poems, because that'll make you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And you want to avoid that, okay? So Justin reviewing Chloe's narrative poem title. Next one, Justin reviewing Chloe's lyric poem title. Next one, Justin reviewing Chloe's formal verse poem title. And then Justin reviewing Noah's narrative poem, etc., right? So all 3 in a row, because if you have Chloe's narrative poem, and then Matthew's lyric poem, and then Minju's verse poem, and then Chloe's lyric poem, you're going to be going back and forth all the time when we're discussing persons in a row, okay? And again, all you need to do is scroll down here and click on your name, and it brings you to all 12 of your peer review forms. Be sure to put your name and the name of the person that you are reviewing, okay? This is having some trouble right now because I need to get a new laptop. This doesn't have a lot of memory. It's very small, and I'm running a lot of things right now because of this. I'm trying to click on Chloe's peer review, and it's skipping around. It should work for you just fine. There it is. Okay. So just click on your name, scroll down, click on your name. You have 12 of these. Do 3 of each person's in a row. Okay? You should do that Friday morning. You're just doing brief stuff, so it shouldn't take too long, okay? All right. Let's see. And then the last thing you're doing is the journal. Now remember that the journal is not due until about a week or 2 before the end of class. But please begin your poetry journal. Your journal for the whole class will be due a week or 2 before the end of class. Here's an example poetry journal written by a student to help you get started. Write on 3 to 5 of the poems that you read for homework in 3 double-spaced pages, okay? So here's the example poetry journal. These are on some poems that this is student writing, but it's on some poems that we're not reading for this week, okay? I wanted to give you real student writing so you can, see that it doesn't have to be that formal. It's just 3 pages double-spaced. If you can only write 1 paragraph about a poem, then you can maybe choose 5 poems, and that way you can get 3 pages double-spaced, right? If you can write 2 pages on 1 poem, more power to you. Maybe you can just do 2 poems, okay? But generally it's going to be about 3 to 5 poems, and you're just writing whatever you think about it. And you're choosing it from those poems that we're reading for homework, okay, in that week 1 poetry analysis. So here's the example poetry journal. Again, or find the video of someone reading it if you're doing that. You need to do peer review Friday morning. You need to post your poems by Thursday night. Okay, and you need to also read all those poems for homework. Okay, so bye. I know this is kind of fast. I'm going to send you this email with this screen capture attached. I hope that this was useful to know what you need to do. If you have any questions, please email me. And then at the end of the email, please write "got it," so I know you guys all got it. Okay, thanks. Bye. See you Friday.